House hacking in Tampa is one of the best ways to get started in real estate on a normal or even low salary. It's not a get quick rich play, but nothing in real estate is. So it's a steady way to lower your housing costs, build equity, and learn the business while you live in the property.
Subscribe.
Let's define what house hacking is. House hacking means you live in the home as your primary residence and you rent out the extra space. So that could be another unit in a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, or it could be spare bedrooms in a single family house. Your rent income will help offset the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, and the utilities. Here's the plan for today. We'll compare two paths, the multifamily house hacking and the single family room hacking. The latter one hasn't gotten much attention, but it is probably the best way if you're willing to sacrifice. We're going to cover loans, Florida homestead benefits, and how to use sweat equity on a distressed home, basic operations, and risks. Let's start with the most important step. First, pick your monthly out-of-pocket target before you ever shop for a home. And say this to yourself, if I want my housing cost to be no more than $1,200 or $1,300, how much does my price point, like what am I looking for on the price point? How big can I afford? That target dictates everything else, how much you want your monthly to be. And from there, we can reverse engineer everything. You can ask a lender for a simple PITI table, which is, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, or go to my website at dylancook.com/calculators to mess around with these numbers in real time. And be sure to include realistic taxes and insurance for Tampa. I think both are stabilizing quite a bit and they aren't increasing drastically as they have the past few years, but if you're coming from out of state, it is maybe still higher than what you're used to. For multifamily, estimate the rent for each extra unit using conservative comps. So don't use comps from a house nearby, use comps from a duplex nearby, another multifamily unit, because those comps, I should make a whole video about comps, by the way, because you can't compare like Airbnb comps with long-term comps, obviously, but you also can't compare single family with duplex comps, even if they're the same square footage, because there are things like privacy that you're leaving out and other features and amenities that a house has that a duplex does not. Anyway, for room hacking, estimate each bedroom's rent and understand that utilities will be included in the rent payments, unless you do some sort of alternate structure, but simply one payment for everything included is usually the best and simplest way for room hacking. Your simple formula is this. It's out of pocket equals PITI minus the rent you'll actually collect, plus any shared utilities or maintenance you plan to cover. So play around with the price point, the number of units, and the number of rentable rooms until I think the math lands at or under your target. Here's an example of a duplex I want to share with you. If your target is $1,300 a month, and that's where you want your out-of-pocket monthly to be, maybe you're paying that in rent right now and you want to own and pay that, and you're looking at a $450,000 duplex, and it comes back at a PITI of around $3,200. And keep in mind, we're not really factoring in like reserves here or some of these other like property management fees. Maybe you're going to manage it yourself, so you can exclude that anyway. But if it comes back at $3,200 per month and you're paying $1,300 out of pocket, you need about $1,900 of reliable rent from the other unit to hit your goal. And that's assuming that you will be self-managing again and holding zero reserves. So if conservative rent is closer to $1,800 per month, you're close, but you're not quite there. And that tells you to either find a lower price, improve the income with light renovations, maybe add a paid parking spot in the garage or laundry or storage or something, or look at a triplex or a quad where you have more doors to spread the cost. And if you're consistently coming in short, the hard truth, the reality may be that the market is telling you to just adjust your expectations down a little bit. And so here's an idea for a simple room hack. If your expectations are a little bit falling short on the multifamily side, let's say you're looking at a $400,000 4-bed, 2-bath, and it comes back with a $2,800 PITI. You live in one room and you rent out to the other 3. And if conservative room rents are $700 each, which probably very realistic, maybe even a little bit more, that's $2,100 of income. And so you can subtract a buffer for utilities or cleaning and all that, and then say $150 per month, and your out-of-pocket lands at about $850. Room hacking almost always reaches a lower monthly cost if you're willing to manage roommates. And this is where you decide the amount of discomfort you're willing to take for the amount of reward you'll receive. So now let's pick your path. Path A is multifamily. It's a duplex, a triplex, or a quad. The pros, you have more privacy. There's separate doors and separate leases, and I think boundaries are just easier. Obviously, they don't have to know that you're the owner. You can go by an alias. Bookkeeping can be cleaner, and it scales well when you move out. You can hire a property manager to take over, and it's very traditional. The cons, you're going to have a higher purchase price. There's limited inventory. And for 3 to 4 units, like a triplex or a quadplex, certain loan programs have extra rules. This path fits if you want a clearer line between your space and your tenant space. You want more privacy. Maybe you're married or you have kids, and room renting just is not even feasible. Like, it's not feasible at all. Totally get that. Path B, though, is a single family room hacking. So the pros for that is there's more inventory. There's a lot more single family homes than there are multifamily in the area, like exponentially. There's lower price points. There's strong rent per square foot, and it's a very friendly entry point if your salary is modest. The cons, though, it's more hands-on, and you're going to share common areas, and you really are going to need tight house rules. You're going to have to come up with those. Use ChatGPT to figure out the best way to put that together. I think this path fits if you are willing to live with people and in order to drive your costs down really fast. So let's talk about loan options and the benefits of a primary residence in the first place. Why house hacking? One of the benefits really is when it comes to the loans and the mortgage. I recommend FHA for multifamily because now you can do the 5% down. You will still be paying PMI, but it is what it is in order to get the 5% down. But first-time homebuyer loans for single family room hacking, it really is maybe some of the most competitive loans out there. They are extremely competitive, and they don't force you to pay. Many of them don't. I shouldn't say because I'm not a lender, but many of them don't force you to pay PMI or private mortgage insurance for just 3% down. The catch, they don't work on multifamily properties at all. Lenders may count a portion of projected rental income towards your qualifying ratios. Ask exactly how they'll treat your unit income or room income for underwriting, because that can help boost your qualification when you're looking to buy a house. Remember, there's that 3 to 4 unit rule, the self-sufficiency test. So if you're buying like a triplex or a quadplex, the property's income has to meet their formula. So know this early so you don't get surprised. Because this is Florida, primary ownership can also bring tax benefits. If you homestead the portion of the property you occupy, you can get a property tax reduction and limits on future assessed value increases. So what does that mean? That means that if you occupy 1 unit out of a quadplex, you'll get the homestead exemption applied to 25% of your tax base, assuming that each unit is equal in size. So if you have a 2,000 square foot quadplex and each of the units is 500 square feet, you will get 25% of your tax base reduced by the homestead exemption. But room hacking with a single family, you would still get the full 100% because the way they see it is it's one house, you're living there, and that's that. I think prioritizing location for what works best for you, really location for both of them. But you really want to maximize the amount of income you can get on a multifamily because they're already going to be tougher compared to the single family. For room hacks, look for 4 to 5 bedrooms. I think at a minimum, and at least 2 baths is important, especially if you want one bath to be your personal bathroom. You're going to need 2 to 3 baths, so there's enough for the remaining rooms. Be aware of HOA rules as well. If you decide to move out and continue to rent the rooms, they may not like that you're not living there as the owner, and just be aware of that. I think one of the most important things when it comes to buying your first property is sweat equity. And when you're first starting out, this is good. A distressed home can be your friend if the distress is mostly cosmetic. Think of paint, flooring, simple kitchen and bath updates, lighting and landscaping. Landscaping is a big one that I think is just very inexpensive but labor heavy. Be very cautious with major structural issues. You know, if you see 1/4 inch cracks, step cracks through the house on the outside or inside, cast iron or galvanized drains to an extent. Cast iron can be okay. Galvanized, is a little bit more scarier. And you really want to do things like renovate your bathrooms yourself or fix some wood rotted planks outside. Now, let me tell you some of the things that I've done to increase the value of my first home. And it's nothing special, but it gives you an idea of what you can do to increase value fast and over time. We did a full bathroom renovation. I did pay for a kitchen and another bathroom to be done by somebody else, but I got a good deal on it. I did front porch pavers with my wife and basically added a front walkway with pavers, 200 square feet back porch addition with pavers. I added ceiling fans to many rooms and the back porch as well. So it's everything's getting more airflow. And we tore out a few walls in the kitchen, separating the kitchen in the living room and the dining room actually. And basically we opened up the floor plan quite a bit. We expanded the kitchen at the same time and we opened up the drop ceiling. If you're familiar with Florida, a lot of the kitchens have these, for some reason they thought it was cool to drop the ceiling to make it cozier in the kitchen. We didn't like that. We took it out, put new light fixtures throughout the house as well. And these things weren't even done in 1 year, but we took on new projects every couple of months and it really adds up over time. I've talked about this quite a bit. In Florida, insurance is a big factor. There's the roof age, window ratings, and certain electrical and plumbing systems can raise your premium. I always get insurance quotes during your inspection period. If you need upgrades, there are renovation loans like the FHA 203K, conventional Homestyle that can roll the cost of rehabs into the mortgage. Let's move on to the operations side. So once you've selected and closed on your first property, for multifamilies, try to separate utilities when you can. Hopefully the property was already separated when you bought it, but if not, you can use a fair ratio billing system or flat utility fee. It's not always feasible to get a second meter from the city or county, whoever's responsible for that. Sometimes just setting up a static fee each month for utilities is a little bit simpler and clearer. Use a clear and legitimate lease and document move-ins with photos, especially if you're managing yourself. If you're hiring a property manager, they'll take care of all that for you. I do recommend that. I've been in property management for over 7 years, not the last 7, but throughout my lifetime. And, this is always, they're going to be much more detailed than you would ever be because they're going to know the tricks and the details that they've missed in the past that they don't want to miss again that you just don't know about. So for room hacks, though, put each roommate, this is a little bit simpler on the move in and move out side because we're just talking about one room when you're living, throughout them. But for room hacks, put each roommate on a room lease. And I don't have one for you. If you really want to hire an attorney, then you can do that and talk to them about it. But wrap this up, none of this is magic. Expect work. Expect some vacancy and the occasional rough month. But if you keep 3 to 6 months of total expenses and reserves, you're going to be all right. Underwrite conservatively. I help do that with all my clients. Use real rents from recent comps and make sure they are actual comps and they're not entirely different type of property. Use realistic insurance and taxes. You can get taxes from property appraisers websites. Just Google your county plus tax appraiser or your county plus, it's like Hillsborough tax estimator or Pasco tax estimator. Insurance, get in touch with an insurance agent and you'll be able to have quotes, within your inspection period. So you're not at risk of losing, earnest money later on when you realize, oh no, the insurance is $5,000 a year more than I thought. I can't afford this. Remember, to move forward in Tampa, pick your monthly target, play around with the calculators. If you want my calculator to help you with calculating PITI and additional expenses like reserves and the usage of a HELOC, go to dylancook.com/calculators. It's going to be in the description below as well. So listen, house hacking won't make you rich overnight. Don't expect that, but it can lower your housing costs right away. And hands down, it's the best way to start investing in real estate with a low salary or a modest one. It'll teach you how rentals work and grow your equity while you live there. Start with the payment you can live with, reverse engineer the deal, and take the first step. If you've learned something or enjoyed this, please leave a comment down below to tell me, and like and subscribe. Thanks.